Hello everyone, this is Mr. Clifford from Primary Forest School. Today we're going to learn some really basic whittling skills with knives. I've got two different knives to show you today. First of all, I've got a lock knife. You don't need to use a knife like this. It could be a pen knife or a fixed blade knife. Whatever knife you want to use is fine. The main thing is never give a child a blunt knife. I always think it's a lot safer to use a sharp knife because they won't have to use so much effort in order to use the knife. So with this knife here, you open up the blade like that and you lock it like this. Now, some children like to use a glove on their hand, their non-working hand. This is optional, and sometimes I like to give them out, sometimes I don't. Up to you. But they shouldn't be using a glove on the hand that they're using the knife with because it makes them really cumbersome. I've got two different types of wood here to show you. This is a piece of cherry which has been down for a while and it's hard. So if you look in there, the bark, can you see that in the camera, is brown. It's not green. That's been down for, I don't know, about 6 or 8 months, I would say. So that's quite hard to whittle. The other type of thing I have, the tree I have here, branch that I have, is a piece of sycamore. And this is green. If you look in the camera there, you can see that was just off the tree very recently, and you can see the green inside the bark. Not good for fires, but really great for whittling. So, back to the knives. If ever you leave a knife, you should really put it back in its case or put it back inside its handle. The first thing we're going to do is make a tent peg. So, I'm going to get my piece of sycamore. And the first thing is, let's move it around my cameraman for a minute. I haven't got a saw with me, and I don't have a pair of loppers. Ideally I'd use those. The first thing I'm going to show you with this sharp knife, so really with sharp knives I'd say children of at least 6 or 7 years old, and do make sure that your children are 1-to-1 with an adult or possibly 1-to-2 or 3 with older adults. So I always work to the side of my body like this, never working in the middle of my legs. The femoral artery runs up inside the legs and you do not want to cut that. And the other thing is we never work towards ourselves with the knife like that, or towards our fingers, or towards our chest, even worse. So for now, the only cut that I'm going to show you today is the working away cut from your body. And first of all, we're going to cut all the way around this piece of wood to break it in half, which is really quite easy. I'm going to turn it over a little bit, and I'm just making little cuts. And if you look at my knife here, you can see that I'm using what's called a thumb cut. So I'm just pressing my thumb on the back of the blade all the way around my branch, like that, to make a series of little nibbles all the way around. When I've done that, I'm going to just snap my branch on my knee, like that. There we are. The start of the tent peg. So, tent peg, you might think that's a bit boring, but there's a number of different skills involved in viewing the tent peg. That's why I teach it. It's a really, really good one. So the first thing we're going to do is we'll put a little point on the end. So look, working away from me, nice sharp knife, turning my stick all the way around, nice even. Bits flying off there we are. Point on tent peg, easy. Now, we may want to tidy up the end a little bit, and I'm just going to do that like that, which is probably a cut you might not be able to do, but just cut that off there at the end, a bit neater. Now, the next bit is a little bit complicated. What we're going to do is make a notch in the top of the tent peg for our string to go in if we want to actually use this tent peg. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So again, working to the side of the body, away from ourselves, we're going to just notch in like that with the back of the knife, pushing in. Children might find this rather hard. They might be better off using a saw with this, but it is possible with a nice sharp knife. We'll keep pushing in, and you notice I've come down. These are not what are called knots in the wood, this point here. So do not try and cut those. It's really hard. That's where a little branch used to come out from the tree. So don't try and cut those. We'll come down from the notch, down from the knot where it's nice and easy, and I'll be carving in like this. I'm going to do this really, really quickly and this will take quite a long time normally to do this, especially for children. Okay, so there's my notch starting to take shape, and I've gone about halfway through my branchlet. The next stage is I'm going to get my stick on the ground or on a round of wood, and I'm going to saw with my knife those little bits that I made, saw them off, tidy up the notch a little bit with my knife. There we are. Okay. So there we have it, look. We've made a really simple tent peg, extremely quickly, very easily. Now, younger children should still learn whittling skills. It's a really, really good skill to learn. It teaches a lot. Hand-eye coordination, using a blade, really, really good skills. Persistence. Some children will sit for hours and just peel the bark off. So younger children can use a knife a bit like this. This is an old-fashioned bread knife, butter knife. You can find them in charity shops, and I've just sharpened that up a little bit on the edge to make a little bit of an edge on there, make it a bit better. And it's the same principles apply. We work away from our body to the side, and if I wanted to take the bark off, look how effective that is. And a young child, any age, 5 years old, they could be there and they can do this. Same principles apply. They could wear a glove on this hand, and they not a glove on the working hand, and they can shave off the bark. And I'm starting to make a really attractive tent peg. There we are. We can make our own design on there. So that's it. That's how basic whittling skills, and that's a really, really lovely thing for your children to do. I'm outside. Better to be outside if you can when you're doing this.